Yay! Okay, I think we got everything straight now. Hello, everyone. This is Inner Haven, and we are at Sandra's house today. Hello, everybody. So excited. It's Inner Haven Day, and we are going to start off talking about how, let's just for a second, let's just talk about what Inner Haven means to us, and what kind of when we started. We're gonna do that in a minute, but we're gonna pray first. Andre, would you say our prayer for us? Switch seats with you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on another anniversary. We're just going to go ahead and bow our heads, get our minds in a relaxing moment. Take a couple of deep breaths and understand yourself and your being. Take that time out just for a second to understand who you are and how important you are. Feel the weight lift off of you. Feel that lucky number 7. Feel that inherited number where you can float freely. Let your mind at ease. And as you feel the heightened senses where you are one with creation and universe, be blessed, be eternal, be vigilant, be strong, be worthy, be love, be light. And all this we say, and so we say, amen.
Amen. Thank you. So fantastic. So I just want to talk about Inner Haven just for a second. I'm going to do a little interview on everybody. But I remember when I was still working at my job at Colony Williamsburg, which I hated. I was like, oh, if I can just get out of here. But what would I do? What would I do for a living? How would I enjoy myself? And just the concept of having a ministry was the thing that came to me. And I said, well, okay, cool. Then I had a cousin. She said I think she was a Pentecostal at the time. You know, we always shift denominations. So she was a Pentecostal at the time, and she had a prophet came to her church, and she said, and the prophet was, tell the Roman Catholic that God is about to visit her. So she said, I'm the only Roman Catholic that she knew. So she told me about it. And I said, well, what does that mean? God coming to visit my house? Am I supposed to fry chicken? What are you what are you gonna do when God shows up? So I said, and then like 2 weeks later, I had this thing came in the mail, and it was my minister's license that came from University of Metaphysics. What? Where did this come from? I had done that like 7 years ago. And then all of a sudden, this comes into the mail, came for me. So I said, well, okay, well, I'm a minister. Let me start my ministry. And this is really how it began. Sandra was one of the first people that joined in with me. I met Sandra. Well, I met Sandra. She was a volunteer caregiver for my mother. So tell us a little bit, Sandra, what you think about Inner Haven and how it came to be in your life.
Well, Inner Haven, I met you. And so you were creating Inner Haven is how I got into it. And Inner Haven to me means the place of safety and protection and like-minded people. So I'm very grateful for all of you for being here. That's what I feel when I'm around you. I feel safe and protected.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, she's leaving out the part about how wonderful she loved my mother. She's because at the time my mother was in her late stages of dementia, and Sandra would come and she would read books to my mom and give her coffee, and they would watch television together. And she was just so loving and kind. And if she did try to get out of my life, she couldn't. I kept her here. She's been here the whole time. So I really admire that.
How long ago? I'm trying to think. How many years? It's been like
Yeah.
9 years, maybe. I don't even
Okay.
know.
Mama died in 14. Mama died in 2014. And maybe this is, I don't know.
9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was even before then, because we started, Sandra and I and another friend of ours named Maite, we all started together reading Course in Miracles.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how we bonded, because Sandra came in with Marianne Williamson's book, Return to Love. I think that was the book that you had.
Yes.
And so that's
Wow, you remember all this. Wow, I had forgotten.
Yeah. So then we really became bonded over A Course in Miracles. And so we started, so Inner Haven really kind of began as a Course in Miracles group, you know. And one of the things that I always knew is that I just wanted to have people around me who kind of like me. You know, I was always too metaphysical to be, you know, like a Christian, and too Christian to be metaphysical. So I never could, you know, it was always something missing from one side or the other. So this is one of the things that I really appreciate people coming in. The next person that came into my life in Inner Haven was Reverend Sakina. Now, like I said, I had just became this minister. I just became this minister, so they had something on their website, and it was called Graduates in Action. And so I said, well, let me look to see if there's anyone that's around here in Virginia that I could, you know, just have a conversation with. I called one lady, and she never called me back. I called Sakina, and as soon as I talked to her, as soon as I answered the phone, and she just started talking to me like we had been friends, like, you know, like we had just hung up from each other, you know, the day before yesterday. So Sakina, tell us about your experience with Inner Haven and how you feel about it.
Well, I got a phone call one day from Penelope, and we started talking, and we must have talked about an hour or so. And then she invited me to Inner Haven, to her place, and asked if I would ordain her. And we did an ordination ceremony. And then she asked me then if I would, another time, if I'd come down and speak. And I did, and we've been together ever since. And it's like coming home, because all paths lead to that center. But at Inner Haven, we're actually able to express all those paths, whether we're into Buddhism, the tarot, into dreams, into the Bible, into metaphysics, into whatever. It's like this big wheel, and we all just kind of come together, and we can be there to share whatever is in our heart and whatever is in our mind without judgment, and know that even though we may not all agree all of the time, Spirit is talking through each one of us, and it's just a safe place, and it's neat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and you know, and Sakina's leaving something out too. She's leaving out the part that when we first met, we were on the phone for, I know, at least 3 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Maybe it was.
Yeah, we were on this phone, you know, really closer to 3 hours.
Felt like I was talking to my sister.
For a long time. And, you know, we were just finding out who we were and what was different about us, and, you know, the concepts that we came from, you know, the philosophies that we came from. And all of these things were really cool. So when she came to my house and I first met her, I said, found one, somebody who's shorter than me. I'm not the little one in the room. Hey, can you reach up there and get that? Bet you can. So that was so we were friends ever since after that. Then the next person that came into Inner Haven was my cousin Andre. And you were actually at my ordination ceremony.
Mhm.
You were there. We had a ball that day, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a ball.
We
definitely
had-
did.
We had a ball. Now Andre is like my son's age. So, so he's, so he kind of grew up with my son. So I have seen them try to jump off the roof, jump out the window with a pillow underneath to see if to see what that did. I have seen them twist their men up together, and the men would be sometimes they would be under torture, and sometimes they'd be being rescued. It was a lot that was going on with Andre. But so Andre, tell us about what made you decide to come over to Inner Haven, and what makes you stick around with us, old ladies.
Well,
You wanna come over this
I
side so people can see?
as
you
far
coming?
as no, I'm fine.
Okay.
As far as like-minded people, age ain't nothing but a number.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Intelligence, imagination, and things that are just a certain feeling that you get around being around people that can understand you humbly and respect your energy for what it just is something that is very rare to find amongst people.
Mhm.
And if you do not, we have so many people who search for it their whole lives by doing the same thing and repeating the same avenues versus stepping out of your comfort zone
Mhm.
and coming into seeing where someone else's mind is, age is, wisdom is, faith is, it's it's an enlightening feeling, it's a hallmark part of understanding who you are and who you want to become.
Mhm.
So me joining Inner Haven was me being on a journey, trying to find something that I could understand and could understand me in the way that I was thinking about health, wealth, religion, politics, love, etc., the human experience.
Mhm.
So with that, I decided to go back to what I've always known, because as my cousin just spoke, I come from a background of like-minded people and a good family that has shown love and also had a lot of knowledge in so many different ways. So I came back to the sources of my elders to look for a grander knowledge that is benefiting and helping me. And that's what brought me to Inner Haven.
Well, thank you. That was deep.
Mhm.
Very
Thank you
nice.
so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much. Yeah, and this is what I hope Inner Haven is to everybody. I hope it's this place where we get together, we, voice our opinions, we voice the new things that we're learning. We talk about what we know or what we want to know or what we don't know. And nobody has to be right and nobody has to be wrong. It's all exploration, it's all experimentation. So now we at the big number 7. Oh, I forgot Harriet. That's because she's sitting over there all quiet. Oh, sitting over there all quiet. And she didn't say anything. She just said, "Hey, you forgot me." I would eventually remember her. So y'all know what y'all know what you're dealing with. Don't let me lead you anyway. I will forget at least one of you. But anyway, let's talk about Harriet, because Harriet and I worked for at least 20 years, close to 20 years at the same job, although I was in one department and she was in another department. But we would communicate with each other every day because as you know, as I was in security dispatch, she had to come and get the keys for whatever building she was opening that day. And so and you know, she was always pleasant, always friendly, and you know, we just became friends from there. So tell us, Harriet, what do you think about Inner Haven?
Well, to me, when I discovered Inner Haven, I was like a child on Christmas morning. It's as simple as that. All of my life, my grandfather, my father were deacons in the church. My great grandfather was a minister. And my grandmother was involved, both of my grandmothers were involved in missionary work. So, like I said, I was brought up in the church, but I always felt there was something missing. I heard the stories, I listened to the sermons, but I always felt that there was something missing, or they were not telling me the whole truth. And over time, I began to explore things, but I had nobody to talk to about it. And one day, by chance, I had retired, Penelope had retired, but we bumped into each other in Walmart. And something she said, I don't remember now what it was, but something she said, aha. And then it was soon after that I got an invitation to join one of the Saturday or Sunday sessions. But by the time I got it, it was too late. But eventually I kind of caught up with it, and I began to tune in, you know, every time, you know, the group met. And like I said, to me, it's been like a child on Christmas morning getting exactly what they wanted on the Christmas tree. And I just thank all of you, you know, for being there, for listening to me, understanding.
Thank you, thank you. Well, you know, just having you in our midst, because Harriet, she leads our sessions in A Course in Miracles, and somebody's coming in. Let's see if I can figure out how to make this thing work. There we go. Let's see, how do you do that? Okay, participants. I heard somebody try to come in. Okay, well, I don't know. Guess it will happen again. Oh, that was wrong. Oh, damn, I don't know what I did that time. Pushing buttons. I need to stop pushing so many buttons.
There you
Okay,
go.
I'm gonna leave it alone. Not gonna push another button. Okay. Well, now we have to wait for Sandra to come back. So why don't we flip, since we're waiting on Sandra, and she's helping Arthur relax. Would one of y'all like to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm going to talk just a little briefly about dimensions. There are many dimensions, but there's 24 major ones. And so I wrote down just a couple of things to share. And I'm going to read from my notes if nobody minds. Anyway, it says, we're in a time of a new electromagnetic wavelength in which the body may harmonize with the 5th, 6th, and 7th dimensions. And we're going to talk just a little bit about the 7th eventually here. In order to work with the higher beings, and our bodies are going to become more light bodies. We'll still maybe maintain the physical, but we'll become more light bodies. The second point here is the term I am that I am expresses through God's infinite mind as a force of light and love, and enables us to reach those higher dimension. So whenever you say, I am that I am, focus on your body elevating and opening up more and more to the higher guidance that's coming in. The third point here is as you study the codes of light, it enables the inner planes of being to work with the higher hierarchies, the angelic beings, the hierarchies that are on not just this universe, our local universe, but in other universes in the cosmos. Some of it, as I understand, is over my head, but in my heart it feels right. So there's times that I can't really explain some things because I can't find the English words or any words in all of our languages that we have here, because it's more of a light language. And in the book of Enoch, they do talk a great deal about the light languages and even the spaces in between, like when you're reading something and the space between one sentence and another sentence, instead of seeing that as a blank space, to see it as light coming to you. That's what the codes of light are. In the book of Enoch, they have some flames over certain letters, but that's a code. And as you begin to understand it, you may see the word, but something else is coming through. I don't know if you've read the book of Enoch. And the book of Enoch is not a book that you read from cover to cover. It's one of those books you open up and the message is there for you. The fourth point that I have here is spiritual man is elevating to a fifth dimension due to the death of functions that are fast. I'm sorry. Spiritual man is elevating to a fifth dimension due to the depth of functions that are part particle and part wave, enabling the elevation of our nuclear nature or our nuclear structure. We see ourselves, because we are on this third dimension, as a physical being, but actually we're nuclear. We have atoms and electrons and protons within our being that are nuclear, and they are changing. And we're taking on this garment of light instead of just our physical skin. The last point I have is from the Beyond Ascension by Joshua Stone. And he says, and since we're celebrating the 7th anniversary, I'm going to read what he says about the 7th dimension. It says, the key term for the 7th dimension is expansion. The 7th dimension is a turnaround point for inner and outer experience. It is a corridor that allows you, or allows us, to refrain from the way we experience the dimensional structures. It allows for experiential activity. I'm sorry, let me read that again. It allows for experiential objectivity. The 7th dimension is a dimensional reality we can go to take a look at how well we have manifested the ideal. The experiential objectivity we gain from this perspective will stimulate new ideas upon which we can then expand in other dimensional realities. So in a sense, 7th dimension is expansion. We're expanding from 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th and 6th as we grow, and we're becoming more and more light beings as opposed to just the physical being that we are. So, and I apologize for not being able to read this very clearly, but my glasses work one way and they don't work another way.
Oh, I have reading glasses.
Oh, that's what these are. Anyway,
But one
so
of
I
the,
don't know if anybody.
one of the things that one of the things that you kind of mentioned was that our bodies were turning into light bodies. Well, for us to realize that our bodies are light bodies, can you explain what you mean by light body?
Okay, we will emanate more light. Like when we come into a room, they'll see us,
Mhm.
but then they'll sense a light. And like when we leave, they will sense something is missing. And what's actually missing is that light that we're emanating in our own being. It's just like, and I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but when we're talking on Zoom and we're facing each other,
Mhm.
we see each other, but we see this light coming from that individual. And as we're sitting around here now, we're seeing each other, but we are emanating a light. You can feel the light coming.
Mhm.
Arthur has that light. You
Mhm.
can see that. Children that are coming in to the plane now that have been born in the past, I'd say the past 5 years, they're coming in and they're emanating an awful lot of light because they haven't been ingrained in the third dimension like most of us were.
Mhm.
So that's how I see it and have had it explained to me. I don't know if Andre has anything, because you've read it, you might have
I'm sorry.
a little more in that perspective. And also because you're younger, much younger than I am, you haven't been ingrained as much as those of us in our 60s and 70s have been ingrained. The younger people emanate a little bit more if they're open and receptive to that and allow it to flow through them.
Mhm.
Does that help?
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I didn't know if it just only meant like transparency, or was it like some type of energy or aura,
It does go into transparency where,
mhm.
we can be there and people don't
Don't
see
see
us
us.
and they bump into us, they go, oh, I didn't even see you there.
Mhm.
And
What?
that's sort of a confirmation that, I didn't need to be seen,
Right. Mhm.
it just,
Mhm.
Yeah, understandable. It's also one major thing about this is, and that what you were speaking about was how the number 7 is just, expansion. And if you look at it from that point of view of expansion and once again, we only scientifically know what we know as far as what we call this universe of what we know that this universe is. Now, once again, as I kind of always look at it, we can see we are now smart enough, as you were saying, to understand that these bodies that we have are 3-dimensional bodies. We have atoms, we have nucleuses, we have nuclear bombs going off every time our heart beats, every time we have a thought, everything that we're doing, all our movements is everything that nature has created within nature on its own individually to make us be able to be the animated beings that we are in this physical body.
Mhm.
Now, the energy itself that we gain from this physical body on how we move and conduct ourselves in this body, because that body is not just a single atom, it has mass now because there are many atoms and so many things have combined to make this being this one whole being. So therefore, when you move in time. So you have to understand and learn, because everything that has that mass is going through a certain point in time, maybe older than you, maybe younger than you, may precede anything that we have even ever understood. And at that point in time, we can't understand that.
Right.
So there's a veil that we can only cross until we get into a situation where our common energy that we use from this body, where this body begins the atoms, the mass break down, but the energy goes nowhere.
Right.
So the energy is infinite. So we take this energy and the lessons that we learned and we go to a higher frame. Does that make you an angel? No. Does that make you more powerful than what you are? No. It just puts you on a plane where you are now having to understand this plane. Knowledge never ends. It's always going to be infinite, as we were saying with the number 7. It's always going to go. It's always going to grow. So even though you may know to go to a higher plane.
Right. And I guess that's kind of like what you were saying about the exponential objectivity, because I'm supposed to like something that is objectified. I mean, I'm objective. I'm witnessing it, right? I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. It's not subjective.
Yes.
So it's objective. So I'm seeing it. So I'm able to grow in what I am witnessing. I'm growing. Hey there, darling. How you?
Hi there.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, yeah. Hey, Kathy. Kathy made it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sakina. So that's what we're doing here today, since we are the big number 7. This is big number 7 for Inner Haven. We're all talking about some type of number 7. What does the number 7, and what is it mean for us, either individual or something that has to do with how Inner Haven is helping you grow within these 7 years. So Sandra, this is the first time Sandra is actually speaking.
Oh, no.
Yay!
Thank you.
We're so excited, but this also shows her growth in learning how to understand yourself and how to speak up for what it is that you believe and how to articulate that. So thank you so much. So now she's going to talk about 7.
Number 7.
The number
So
7.
to give you a little background, I come from a family that showed their love through food and their care for you. They would just feed you. There wouldn't be words or anything, but they would just feed you. So I'm always thinking about food. I'm always planning for the next meal. So I decided to talk about food today in the number 7. But I need to read it because the translation in my head is just, but we're not read it. Bear with me.
Sandra, would you like to come over here where you can be
Were
on?
you on camera or?
No, I'm fine here,
Okay.
actually. All right,
Baby
so,
steps, y'all. Baby steps.
yeah. So since I love food and cooking, I thought I would tell you about the 7 elements of taste and how they impact how we enjoy food. We all know about our 5 basic tastes, which are salty, sweet, bitter, sour, and there is this new one, umami, which is the taste of protein. So it's the taste of meat and mushrooms and beans. So that is the 5th taste that they added there a few years ago. It's called umami.
I have been hearing a lot about umami.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just something that was, had to do with the Asian culture.
Well, it hits a spot in your tongue, and that's why they added it to it.
Well, okay.
Because of all the receptors you have on your tongue, it hits one of the spots there. So,
okay.
And some people say savory.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
which is
Mhm.
it
Okay.
would be the savory as well. So I would like to add 2 extra elements to make it 7.
Mhm.
So I would like to add the fat and the spice. And so when you find a good balance between all of these elements, you can create a super tasty and magical dish, as it will activate every part of your tongue. So that's why Chinese food is so tasty, because it hits every spot. That's why that's the thing that you need to balance all these 7 elements. So bear with me.
You're making me hungry.
I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere. So this brings me to this room and to us and to Inner Haven, because such a diverse group of people brought together to share their wisdom and balance. To share their wisdom, we can balance each other out, and we created a very magical dish together.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sandra. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And just when you're thinking of a community as tastes on the tongue, it really kind of embodies that whole vision of that community. There's there's a spicy one, there's a salty one, there's that sweet one, and there's the one that has all of the umami. you know? So when we think about us together like that, it's really beautiful to think of us as a magical dish. That's so sweet, Sandra. Thank you so much.
That's nice,
That was beautiful. Thank you.
very,
It was.
very intuitive.
Yeah, very much.
Mhm.
So anybody got any questions or comments for Sandra?
Just made us hungry. Something too, getting together
Mm,
and seeing each other face to face, we've been hungry for that,
yeah, yeah,
you know, it's,
yeah,
and that type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I do agree with that. So, you know, so just to think about spirituality as food, you know, how we, you know,
Digest.
how we digest and how we, you know, how we savor the, you know, the taste of the, you know, of whatever it is that we are intuiting, you know? You know, is that, you know, we learn something all the time,
Mhm.
you know? And, you know, how is it digesting?
Yeah.
You know, and how is it energizing? How does it bring us, you know, to this point where how it nourishes. That's the right word. I need a non-English speaker to tell me how to speak English. But yeah, but you know, that is true. Is that, you know, when we are living our best spiritual life, it nourishes our physical body, you know, it turns us, it first of all, it helps calm us, gives us more self-controlled thoughts. We understand, you know, why we are thinking what we're thinking. We analyze our thoughts a lot more so that we, you know, act out and express that thing that is really, that is, you know, that it's like the, you know, the cake or the, you know, the dish we experience, you know, we express that more.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a lot of food for thought, Sandra. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
yes, really good.
Yeah,
That was.
yeah,
Very good.
yeah, a lot of food for thought. Okay, well, Harriet, how about you? Harriet's gonna tell us about the seventh
The
chakra.
seventh chakra. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Harriet, what's up?
Chakra in Sanskrit means wheel or disc. These wheels or discs are constantly spinning energy points throughout the body. And most of us think of the seven major chakras, which kind of brought me into the study of the chakras, because I wanted to learn how to use what comes naturally to heal myself physically, mentally, and spiritually. And research has revealed that there are as many as 114, or maybe even more of these energy points all over our body. Just think about reflexology, pressure points in the palms of our hands and the soles of our feet relate to different parts of the body. Or iridology, in which the iris reveals the state of our health. Or acupuncture points with
Can't
several
talk today.
needles. I know. Where needles are inserted, several needles are inserted into certain parts of the body to help ease or relieve a dis-ease. When a chakra is out of balance or blocked, it affects our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And my goal in studying this and to sharing it is to help all of us have the best of health by using what the Creator has placed on this earth to help activate or attain perfect health. Today, we celebrate 7 years of Enter Haven, a sanctuary where we can express our truth, knowing we will not be judged, criticized, or embraced for who, but embraced for who and what we are. We'll be taking a close look at the seventh chakra, the crown, or Never mind. Because I didn't finish typing it out. I was gonna use
Use the Sanskrit
use
name.
the Sanskrit name. And I didn't finish typing it out. The top of the head or pinnacle of the physical chakra system is the seventh energetic gateway of transcendence. In Hinduism, it is believed to be where the soul enters the body. Some cultures believe it is inside the head, others say it is an inch or two above the head. So it all depends on what you have been taught or believed in. This energy space is open when we emerge from our mother's womb. How many have heard of the soft spot in the baby's head? And that, I think that's what they're attesting to. It is the seventh energetic gateway of transcendence. Oh, I read that. The energy space is open when we emerge from our mother's womb. Over time, religious teachings, opinions, and programming influences our perception of how we view the world. As we get older, our knowledge and understanding broadens. That said, the crown chakra becomes fully developed between the ages of 43 and 49. And of course, I learned that it takes 7 years for each one of the 7 physical chakras to develop. So it makes sense. 7, 49, 7 times 7 is 49. Each chakra has a color of the rainbow associated with it. Some sources say the crown chakra is violet. That is associated with spiritualism, creativity, and mystery. Other sources say that it contains all the colors of the rainbow, which makes it appear white, representing purity, light, neutrality, and hope. And one of the things that I have been doing for a long time, even before I got into the study of chakras, is to use, whenever I go anywhere or whenever I get ready to do anything, I just ask for that white light of protection to surround me. And it works. That's all I can say, it works. The crown is the command center for your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Remember, the skull protects the brain, the cerebral cortex, the brain stem, the pituitary gland, and the nervous system. Each chakra controls the body parts within its immediate radius, and it also, to a degree, influences the body parts of the neighboring chakras. In the case of the crown, this would include the pineal gland, which is controlled by the 6th chakra or the 3rd eye. If you are depressed, suffer with dementia, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, epilepsy, schizophrenia, psychosis, neurosis, insomnia, brain tumor, migraines, and others, your crown is out of balance or blocked. If you feel disconnected, lonely, or just don't belong, it could be your crown chakra is not up to speed.
Say that again. Say that again.
Okay. If you
That's so
feel
sad.
disconnected, lonely, or just don't belong, it could be that your crown chakra is not up to speed, my
Okay.
words. Or underactive. On the other hand, an overactive crown chakra might be indicated by overthinking, feelings of superiority, manic depressive thinking, behavior, or obsession. When the crown chakra is balanced, you feel connected with your spirituality, feelings of trust in yourself, a sense of empathy, connectedness, and selflessness. An open crown chakra enhances the 3rd eye, the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the sacral, and root chakras, the other 6.
So, well, I'm gonna ask a question first. Okay, the soft spot. What's that called?
Fontanelle.
Fontanelle.
Yeah.
So and I know that that really doesn't stitch up until you like hearing your,
Actually,
doesn't-
it doesn't,
close.
Like,
it
yeah,
doesn't
it doesn't
completely.
close.
it doesn't
close.
completely
No,
close.
Yeah, I
Yes,
was
it
gonna
does.
share,
It
No, it
can tell you
doesn't.
like
I was going to
doesn't get
share
hard until
something. I was in a
But you-
ceremony and a group of priests had come to our group and he did this smoke ceremony and he smoked his pipe and then he came to each one of us and blew in the center of our head. And you could feel the smoke coming throughout your whole body and you just felt this cleansing, that the smoke that was coming through your body was just cleansing the whole body. But he blew it in the top of the head and you could feel it, up in here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but physically it has closed. Spiritually, I'm not saying
You
that it's
just still
closed.
left with a side.
but you're- Right.
But it doesn't, but it hardens around 25.
Yeah,
around-
like I
around
know
when
you're
puberty
an
starts.
adult. Mhm,
Yeah,
you're like in your 20s.
I
Around
should
when-
say it closes up that as far
Yeah.
as the because there was a little girl when I was a nurse and she was 8 or 9 and hers closed up prematurely as far as because you have little plates all in your head.
Mhm, right.
And I guess the cartridge turned into bone too early. And every year she had to get surgery from a French doctor that came all the way to CHKD to open it up so she would be normal and she didn't get brain damage.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, and she was all the way from New Jersey
Mm,
So
wow.
she came from New Jersey to Norfolk.
just to get that surgery every year. The first 2 years, I think when she was 2 years old on, she had to go all the way to France.
Oh,
Mm.
my goodness.
Mm.
I was
Also,
aware of
it
that.
closed.
Okay,
up
but
very
let me
early.
add, before we get
Yeah.
involved in that, let me, so spiritually, that's that connection that holds,
To the
that
divine, to the universe.
holds, that like, not holds them, but anchors
Yeah.
us to be in alignment with our spiritual connection.
Right.
Yeah, and anchors us to the core of the earth,
Right,
Right.
the core of the
Mhm.
universe.
right.
Um,
So,
Universes.
one of the things that my studies showed me was that, as you mentioned, there is a chakra beneath the root chakra.
right.
It's
mhm.
called the earth or the star earth, depending on who the author is or who the writer is.
Mhm.
And my understanding is that what that does is it anchors us to the core of the
Mhm.
earth.
So how does that, okay, so you mentioned that it's out of balance if you have like epilepsy, schizophrenia, all of these different I guess psychological
Psychological
things.
as well as physical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because schizophrenia is really a brain thing.
Yeah. So so what type of treatments would you use? I mean, do you use this color? Do you use?
I haven't gotten that far into my studies yet. But what the book that I've been using, and I don't recall the title, but the author is Carolyn Miss.
Mhm.
And she has some kind of intuition where she is able to, and it started out, and from what she has written, it kind of frightened her at first because she was able to, she consults with a medical doctor,
Mhm.
they're good friends, and he will call her up and tell her about things that he has discovered in a patient, or she would just intuitively know.
Mhm.
And he hasn't been able to find out whatever disease this in his patient has. He hasn't been able to discover, what is causing it, or why she is feeling why the patient is feeling a certain way. But she is able intuitively to guide him in a direction where he can find out what is wrong with the patient.
Mhm.
So it's to me, it's I'm still, like I said, in the exploration stage.
Mhm. But that is interesting because, we do know that, first of all, there is no illness, sickness, none of that really exists within our spiritual being. You know, it's confined to this
The
third
physical,
dimension,
yeah, the
you know,
physical.
to this physical big body. So, you know, the more we open ourselves up to that spiritual awareness, and I guess the more the focus, the more. So what, you know, what, like when you're doing your when you're focusing on that chakra, whether it's inside your head or outside your head, or I mean above it, you know, I guess you can really I guess hone the you know the energies together, or
Well, somewhere in my studies, they mentioned a silver cord that kind of keeps everything in line. And if something is out of line, then that's when they begin to feel
Mhm.
diseases.
Okay, because you know, because it is, and all of these things are just, you know, really fascinating and kind of important, you know, to pay attention to, you know, if I'm feeling depressed or if I'm feeling angry, if I'm feeling whatever my situation, got a fort, of whatever it is that I'm feeling in my own head, that's the thing that I can focus on to shift and put you know something more in, you know, I don't always have to just be worried about my body, you know, or medications, or, you know, I can really focus on using these this, you know, the spiritual awarenesses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Harriet. Anybody else got, Harriet, any questions or comments?
That's very good.
Thank
Renee,
you.
you wanna say something? Are you our number 7 that you just came to join us on?
Yes.
You made it 7.
You made it
You're 7 now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Kathy, I'll put you on the spot for a second. If you want-
right
There you are.
right here. Here? You come over here.
There you are. We see your hand. There he is.
You come and sit here. You come sit here. Okay.
I'm gonna stay over here. I didn't know if you wanted to have anything to comment on, Kathy. But, you know, but first of all, you know, everybody had a chance to go around before you came to talk about Inner Haven. So tell us what you feel about Inner Haven, and, you know, how it has, you know, what are your thoughts about it?
Relief. It's like being with people that don't agree on everything, but we're like-minded enough where we usually, even if we don't agree, we understand why we don't agree. And it's like, a lot of times, it's not so much disagreement, it's, oh, well, that's why she feels that way, because that's where she's coming from when she get to know people. And then it's not really a disagreement, it's just that person in this one topic took this path. you
Right.
know. And then to keep me strong, because I think some of you know that I nicknamed this one coworker Screamer, because she's actually screamed at me and threatened me with bodily harm, actually, and stuff like that. And it made me realize, like, because the last time she did it was real, especially when she threatened me with bodily harm. I got angry, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's a protective thing. Like, you were crossing a boundary, lady, you know. But I also knew not to escalate it, you know. And but I realized when her dog got her dog was about to get knee surgery and stuff like that, and this was about 6 weeks after the last tear raid, and she went and she was crying because her dog was going to get knee surgery, and they do blood work, and the white blood cell count was really low. So then they tested this dog for cancer and everything else. And a few days later, I said, well, you know, I'm praying for Daisy. And she didn't have much of an affect on her face. So close to the end of the day, I said, you know, I really do want Daisy to be okay. And she said, I know. And then a few days later after that, she was crying again, but it was happy tears. And she found out that her dog was okay, and we actually hugged.
Mm.
But again, I didn't expect her to change her behavior that much. But what I was, and I was proud of myself because I realized if I didn't have any practices, even though I'm still tired a lot, that that I didn't hold a grudge. And that was really good because it's really hard for me to hold a grudge with somebody I love. It's usually pretty easy for me to forgive them, but with someone like her, because in some ways I don't respect her, but I also realize, as another girlfriend said, if she's doing that behavior, I'm sure she had a crazy childhood, even though she's never talked about it, you know. So mostly I just try and be professional with her, you know. And a couple of times she's gotten on my nerves because I hadn't eaten, and all I did was have like a couple spoonfuls of yogurt and coffee. And
Yeah, I don't want to be
and
talking about the lady.
no, let me finish, okay? I'm not going off your lady. And I realized I was getting aggravated with her. And I realized it's her anxiety, Kathy. You don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
And I don't think I would have even been aware of even to consider that when she gets angry, it's her anxiety, because I was totally ignorant about it.
Mhm.
So that's another thing that's Inner Haven has helped me with, is just by hearing other people's stories
Mhm.
and how their emotions come out. Because she doesn't have an Inner Haven, you
Right.
know?
But she can always come.
I'm not inviting her.
Not gonna tell her.
She can find her own Inner Haven. And that's okay too.
That is okay. It is okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and thirdly, it's nice to, because those were 2 points. Thirdly, it's just nice to have a community, although I haven't been here a lot. Because I miss meeting in person. I'm an extrovert. I mean, it's nice to talk on the phone, but I want to see people. you know,
Right. Yeah.
And it's nice to have that community. So that's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things that we have, is that when we get together, we get to see one another, hug, and just say hello, and you know, I would like to do this more often. You know,
Yes.
just try to get get everything done more often. So and it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and say my part now, which is the tarot. And I said I wanted to work on to talk about number 7 in tarot, and I bought my big giant cards. Oh, you know, I had meant to bring those cards.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, but let me get them. Don't let me forget to give them to you when I get to the house.
yep.
Cause y'all gotta drop me off anyway. Okay, so anyway, so since we're talking about 7, I decided to talk about the number 7. How come I'm missing one?
It looks like you have all the lower arcana. What's number 7 for the main?
Oh, here it is.
arcana?
There it is. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That was one of them
Hiding.
was just, yeah, it was high. So when you think about the major arcane, which has to do with our spiritual awareness and our spiritual side. So because 7s are creative, 7 is that number of completion. 7 has that number that involves like intrigue and mystery, luck. You had mentioned earlier, you know, all of the things that we think about as 7, well, you know, or, you know, luck, either good luck or bad luck, you know. In your 7 years, what would you step on the crack and break your mama's back for 7 years, or no, you break a mirror,
Yeah.
break a mirror, 7 years of bad luck. So when we think about all of those things that we use with 7, is because it is that also a period of growth, you know. So the major arcane talks about where we are within our spiritual awareness. And this is a card that has to do with mastery of our minds and our spirit. So we learn how to master ourselves with the number 7. And I think most of I think it was back in the ancient times or older times, you know, a master had 7 on 7 years to master a certain
Like an apprenticeship.
like apprenticeship, yeah. So you had to do 7 years and this level, 7 years at that level, 7 years at that level. And then I think it was so many sevens, and then you were able to be complete and call yourself a master. And when we look at the lower arcane, I mean the minor arcane is, you know, this is all about growth. And when you look at the cards, sometimes they're about tragedy, they're about mystery, they're about hard work, and it's about battling force with inner forces. So when we look at whenever we get a 7 in our tarot readings, either whether we pick the card that morning or whether we're reading the card for ourselves or someone else, we're really looking at where we are intellectually. You know, am I mastering this situation? Or is this situation that's coming into my life, is it here, you know, what is it here to teach me? And when I complete it, I know that I am in that phase of mastering this situation or circumstance. So when you the four minor arcane, the suits of the 4 minor arcane, they are like the same. They're the things that put these things into balance. You know, because you master your emotions, you master your physical being, you master your tongue, which would be the swords, and you master your connection with earth and as above, so below. So this is really what the staff cards represent, because they have, you know, they're connected to the earth and they're connected to the air at the same time. So these are the things that we learn in tarot. And we because we do these classes all the time, we'll get more into it. We just finished up with number 5, I believe, and that was the Hierophant. So we're gonna come back to this. So we got a package coming.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have plenty of time to get back into these. But any questions here? Any questions or comments?
I had hope, I liked the way you talked about the swords mastering your tongue, because I'd always heard of intellect, but you have to think it before you say it. So that that related to exactly what I was saying, as far as, you know, I really didn't say too much to her. I walked a little closer to her because she was screaming at me, like,
Right.
Okay, like, I'm in your face.
And I always tell Kate, I'm amazed at her patience.
I don't feel like I have any.
Yeah.
Triple But thank you. I know I've improved.
Yeah, I think that yeah, I'm amazed at your patience that you have. But you really care about people and how people feel, you know, and I think maybe because you are so empathic, you pay attention to what they are feeling, so that, you know, so maybe you don't always have that balance for yourself, you know.
And thank you for saying that, because I do think it has what we're doing on that, because I know this is sort of personal, but it does have to do with this. Is there was this guy, and he accused me of molesting him, but then I found out he was a jerk. And then I call her the office wife, but she's really, really sweet. She's not like boss. She just knows everything. And she went and she said, "Oh, he's a jackass." And then I knew she was feeling down about something, so I said, "No, he has dick breath." And then she started laughing. But I didn't say it to him. All I said was,
I just said it about him.
well, I didn't want to escalate it, you know,
Oh,
that's
that's so
a
funny.
protective thing for my work. to keep
Right.
my mouth shut, you know. Or your relationship, whether it's a
Yeah.
working relationship
Yeah.
or somebody you love, but you're like, hate them in the moment, you know, like, hey, I'm mad at you. I gotta leave the room before I say something I'm gonna regret.
Right.
But anyways, all I said to him, and then he decided to badmouth me, because that's a very serious
It
accusation.
is.
Um, But what I said is, well, why don't you see the tall hygienist? And I couldn't remember who he was.
Mhm.
And I said, and you don't have to see me anymore. And he acted like I was snotty about it. And I was just matter of fact, like, okay, I was thinking, not everybody likes everybody.
Right.
I don't take it I used to take it personally 6 or
Mhm.
7 years ago, but I don't take it took a long time to do that.
Mhm.
But I don't take it personally anymore. Sometimes you're just used to somebody and you like that
Right.
person. That's fine,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's what growth is all about, because we want to grow mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally, so that we can have that whole firm connection with our oneness from the with creation.
The other thing is could you talk, if we have time, a little bit more about the minor arcanas, because I studied them a little bit. It was a long
Mhm.
time ago.
Yeah, in one of the things that I like about, because each of these are the 4 different levels of awareness. You have the earth, you have the air, you have your mind, and you have your voice. So your mind are your emotions. So so when you're looking at your pentacles, this has all the things to do with your manifested self. It has to do with your body. It has to be, all of your material goods and all of the things. And the 7 and each of the 7s represent that form, that we're still working, we're still striving. Completion is almost there. It's available. It's right around the corner. I can see the light coming from around at the end of the tunnel. It's almost there, but we're still not completely there yet. Because so when you look at each card, you have like your pentacles here. You have a gardener. He's growing his crops. He's a little bit excited about what's coming up, and everything is healthy. But if you can notice, he has on 2 different shoes. So he's kind of strapped. Yeah. So he's kind of like straddling 2 levels of consciousness, 2 levels of awareness, where he is
Like
not
the
really,
chariot.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's not really standing on firm ground yet.
Oh.
The second card that I think that is important, there are different schools of thought to say how you should arrange your cards. I usually go from the earth to the voice, to the mind, and to the spirit. Now with your 7 of swords, he's a sneaky little fellow. He has 5 cards. He has 5 swords in his hand. He dropped 2, but he's so greedy. He wants those 2 too. But he's sneaking in, and he's like stealing someone else's voice or stealing someone else's power. So one of the things with your 7 of swords is that when you have this type of sneaky person around you, or you could be the sneaky person yourself. We're in every reading that we have. What are you either not telling yourself, or what are you telling somebody else? Or what are you listening to? Are you listening to something that is going to be uplifting and healthy, or something that's going to keep you still looking back in regret that you don't have enough? So that's the 7 of swords. The 7 of cups, which are, it's very mysterious. Cups are all about our emotions. Cups are all about our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings. So because the mind is so mysterious, we, we don't really know how to always harness our emotions, and we don't always know how to limit our way of thinking. So if, say if we've been feeling something since childhood, some sadness since childhood, and we don't know how to capture that emotion, we will kind of like suppress it. So it's kind of like holding that emotion down in the depths of the cup. So one of the things that what we do with cups is that, you always want your cup overfilling. You always want your cup, not to have to be stagnant, so that, there's residue or, sediment at the bottom. You always want, you always want that, you always want your emotions to be cleansed and fresh, So one of the things about the Seven of Cups is that it has so many different areas that you can explore. You can explore fantasy. You can look into you can explore your riches, the things that you want through materiality. You can, explore your sense of spirituality. You can, see how you want to champion something. So it's all about imagination. It's all about how you want to, view and master your emotions. I want to, if I want to see this one thing, if I'm looking to have a lot of riches in my life, then, why do I want this? Why do I want these riches? Is it going to, benefit me? Is it going to hurt me? So you investigate this within yourself. And the shadowy person, of course, is always you, because we don't always necessarily know what our emotions are, and and what we're feeling immediately. Sometimes you do, but it often takes a lot of work to understand.
And that's true even with empaths and people who are in touch with their emotions. That you, especially something complicated or something that just happened, and we forget that sometimes. And that reminded, and when you said the imagination, that reminded me of you about the smoke, because a very wise person in the 12-step group said, your imagination is real.
You're right.
And I never heard that. He said, act as if it's real. And I haven't done that lately. So you're reminding me about that, because my whole world changed. And then I finally got the strength to get a divorce and stuff like that. My whole world changed.
Just wood and fireplace.
But I was so engrossed in what Kathy said. I was listening so much that when that went off, it just brought me back to
Yeah.
I tend to do that. So.
The last one, the minor arcane, which to me is, I like to think of the wands or the staff, so the rods. I don't know why they have so many things.
Or clubs.
Right. I don't know why this is the one that to me is the most connected to our physical self and our spiritual self, because you have growth in all of the staffs. All of the staff, and none of them they're not connected to the earth. So that's all imagined. It's all your imagined self to make them connected to the earth.
Now, I've always heard that's emotions, and you're saying something a little, which they can both be right.
This is your connection to spirit. These are like that last level of spiritual connection. And so it's really that highest level of intellect. So it's like your intellect, your logic, your emotional wellness is all of those things combined. Now your seven is that card where you're continuing to struggle throughout your decision making, but the seven knows that it's struggling really against itself. It might get suggestions from other people on the outside, but it's their life that they know that they have to lead. So if I have to fight off you making your suggestion, I will fight you on your suggestion because it's my life and I'm gonna have my life the way that I need for my life to be. And you're also allowing yourself to be yourself, you know? And sometimes we have to fight to be ourselves. You know, we have to, allow our thoughts to be real. And if I don't like chicken, I don't have to pretend I like chicken because you're around, you know? And I don't have to be a fraud. I don't have to imitate anything. I can fight through all of those, every level of consciousness. And this is the last level to allow me. I have gained all of that. And so this is what the 7 of, I had to lift my leg up that time. This is what my 7 of staffs represent. So yeah, so thank you so much. And that's for tarot. But this is something that I have for y'all. And I want to, little gifts. And let's see. And I don't know, y'all have to pick y'all's out. I'm just gonna lay it down and I'll let y'all pick your own out. Some of them you have to open up. I gotta open them up. I want everybody to pick one out for themselves. Which one they feel is their own. Why? And y'all might have to unwrap. Well, it's not yet, not time yet. Okay.
I already know I want this.
Well, Candace playing here. Oh.
Beautiful.
Oh. And this one is kind of wrapped up. I think I got it. And then you all.
This one's pretty too.
Okay. I'll do this in a minute because this is going to, work on my nerves. I'll figure this out. in a
Oh, this
minute.
one's pretty. They're pretty too.
Okay. So, and I have certificates for everyone.
Wow.
And I don't have them in any particular order. So this one is Andre Gaines.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's come and pick out your thing that you like. And here's these 2 that's over here that's stuck together. We'll fight with them later if you want one of them. You like him? Okay, well, good. I'm glad you like him. Go ahead and fix him up. Yeah, fix him up. Let's see, the next one I have is Harriet Lomax. And I think I spelled your name wrong. You have 2 T's, right? Aww.
That's okay, it's on my birth certificate.
And please please pick one of those out for me, whichever one you like. And the next one is for Sandra.
Thank you.
And why don't you and
Arthur,
pick one
out.
out?
Pick whichever you like the most.
You got it? Which one?
You can only pick
I-
one, okay?
And I knew it. I knew that when I saw that was the one that Sandra was gonna have. Wow, I knew that.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, the next one is Kathy Z.
Thank you, sweetie.
No,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
for the both of us. You can wear it.
mispronounce it.
I didn't. And I spelled it right. Let's see.
It's our family.
Thank you. Oh, and Reverend Sakina Sautel.
Thank you.
There you go, and pick out yours. I think I was expecting somebody else.
Oh, where?
Oh, and this one is for Ben. This one is for
Oh,
Ben.
thank you.
Yeah, and pick one out for Ben too.
Oh, okay. Has everybody take their?
Well, so Akina's still looking.
Yeah.
She's shopping.
Don't forget that one too.
Yeah, this one is, this one is a round circle. And it has a,
You want one?
okay.
Which one did you get? It's pretty.
Mm.
That one for Ben. I think Ben is gonna like the dark one. This one has shinies. You can like shinies. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
This one's for you.
oh no. Here, put it right here. You like the one with the Luna or you like the one without the Luna? I think.
Well, thank you much.
Oh,
Thank you. And thank you all so much for coming in for our Inner Haven Day. And thank you so much for coming. And so that's it for us for today. Does anybody have, tomorrow, we're gonna meet tomorrow at 2. And we're just gonna, just have a, open conversation. It's so it's from 2 to 4, so like we normally do. Then on Wednesday, we have A Course in Miracles from 5 to 6:30 on Wednesdays. On Thursdays, we have Reverend Sakina. She does introduction to Gnosis, and we'll be should be finished. We're almost to the end of that book. Yeah. Next Saturday, which will be the next Saturday is the first Saturday.
Is it?
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Next Saturday.
Uh-huh.
I think you're always doing the Book of Enoch on the 3rd. Did we say the 3rd Saturday? Okay, so he's doing the Book of Enoch every 3rd Saturday. So that, and then that's pretty much it. That's it. So that's the end of today's session. Would anyone like to close us out in prayer? How about you, Kathy? We haven't seen you in a little bit.
Okay. Oh, gracious universe and the gods and goddesses of Inner Haven, we give thanks for all that is, all that was, and all that ever will be. And a special request from Kathy that she can get her freaking taxes done from the last tax year. Amen.
Amen. Amen. That's it. Okay, everybody, goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Yes, Angie, you gotta turn it off. We don't know how.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.